Let's move into stage 3.
Yeah.
So stage 3 is the interview process and preparation. So welcome to stage 3. We're talking about the interview process and preparation. So your tips. So you say on page 92, you say something really important here about interview process and preparation. We actually have kind of anticipated this already. Certain firms that do not sponsor international students may still hire. So I guess we kind of touched on that, but anything more to say on that? So certain companies that, and we kind of did, right? There's the idea of the policy versus the business need.
It's identifying maybe a new solution, a new problem, understanding what's going to be more global, where their business may be going, find a person that is likely to maybe need what you have that's special, and then create something unique.
Okay, so there's a lot there. The idea there should be, I think one of the takeaways, remember one thing, I think it's this, that the policy is just a policy. You have so many unique talents that you can bring to the table. Don't be the best kept secret. Be the best new hire. Let them come to know you. Interview process and preparation. Coding of students as international is happening. But how we respond is up to us, right? So coding somebody as a foreign-born person or needing sponsorship or not. I see that coding happening a lot. I see coding as being a way to organize people into different groups, and in a way is part of the problem that we have in our society regarding bias. How we respond, though, is up to us. So we don't have to necessarily self-code ourselves, do we? We don't have to say, well, I'm an international student, and therefore I'm subject to the categorization that someone has set up for me.
Well, and I think because of what we've gone through with the pandemic and hybrid work and remote work, it's a new ballgame. And so I think the idea that international students and the way a company might say, I didn't realize I could have you for 3 years under your F visa, or you don't need to be sponsored for several years, but if you do get sponsored, that's one thing, but maybe you'll keep working for us in your home country. That is something you can bring up to them, because more and more organizations now are letting people work remotely, and that may mean in your home country as well, at which point they may then bring you back again.
For those STEM students, you have the opportunity to be sponsored up to 3 times. I mean, you have 3 bites of the apple, as they say.
3 times where they can apply for your H-1B. And there are actually some international students that are happy to work for 3 years and know they will return to their home country and are not going to be sponsored. They just want to get that experience for their long-term career success.
Yeah, when you come to the United States and you get work experience, it's not necessarily required that you stay here forever. Right. What I think is unique about coming to a different country and getting work experience there is that it increases your options.
Well, and I also mentioned in the book, and as an example, that things change. Our rules change as a country. And also, for example, sometimes people get married, love happens. And so when people get married, then all of a sudden they can stay. Actually, one of the members of my team, Annie, was the same situation. She's from Malawi, and she was at University of Missouri, and then she ended up marrying an American. So instead of leaving after 1 year, she got married, and now she has legal status to stay and is now our long-term employee. So I think that's important. The other thing in the interviewing that I do talk about is, depending on the country you come from, understanding how to do good interviews on Zoom and how to do good interviews in person, particularly when there are multiple people. That in our country, we're more flat and not hierarchical. And sometimes with the countries that the international students come from, they may want to talk to the most senior person on the Zoom call or the senior person at the table. And here that would be a negative. You need to give everybody equal time.
Right.
And in some ways you might want to start with the lower ranked person and move up, but don't only talk to the highest ranked person thinking they're the decision maker, because if you only talk to them, the other people may say, this person is not a team player.
Right. Yeah, when I was working with one of my students, she did initiate the conversation with one of her dream companies at the director level. Quickly that became, please speak with the analysts and associates.
Yes.
And their interactions then led to another meeting with the director, Because the director has to see, okay, is this person going to get along well with the members of our team? I'm not gonna like somebody and then assign them into our team. I'm gonna think about this in the context of what is it like to have this person on this team from the perspective of my analyst, my associates, the secretary or the administrative assistant, all of that.
Paying attention to any of the administrative people. Everyone is really important because it's kind of the opposite of the diversity. We want diversity, but we also want people that are going to be enjoyable to work with, that get along with each other. So they need to fit, but they also need to be diverse, which is kind of a contradiction.
And not to leave out anything. This book does talk about some really great specific interview strategies. In particular, we see Betsy talking about the STAR method: situation, action, and result, in terms of how to structure your interview responses to questions like that. So we've been touching on some kind of high level concepts here in this section, this discussion of interview process and preparation. Betsy also goes on into some of the details there about how to specifically structure your interview preparation.
And how do you know when someone like Stuart starts a discussion with you as an interview? Is it going to be a chronological interview, or is it going to be behavioral, and how do you prepare? Because when you hear them say one kind of question, you need to say, aha, it's this kind of an interview, or it's that kind of an interview. And based on what I write in the book, I give you some tips on how to do that.
Okay, wonderful.